Welcome to another episode of Game Boy Roulette, where we take a look at randomly chosen games from the Game Boy library. FIFA Road to World Cup 98. Just the road? I wanted to play soccer. Soccer has always been interesting to me. Well, specifically the concept behind it. Just the fact that it's the biggest sport everywhere in the world except the United States is really fascinating. And yes, while it's gained a lot of popularity over the past decade in the US, it's still not as big as other sports. Why is that? Is it that games tend to be a little slower and more thoughtful and strategic? Is it the lack of truly famous and historical teams? Maybe it's just the significantly lower concussion occurrences. Whatever the case may be, despite soccer's lack of popularity in the US, that never stopped game companies from releasing plenty of soccer games over the years. And in fact, we've already looked at 3 of them. Nintendo World Cup Soccer, which was pretty fun, FIFA International Soccer, which was pretty bad, and Soccer Mania, which was just sorta bland. It all comes down to the developer, and FIFA World Cup 98 is an interesting case, because most of the versions were developed by different companies. The SNES and Genesis versions were made by XYZ Productions, EA Canada made the Nintendo 64 version, Climax Development the Sega Saturn release, and the Game Boy release, our friends at Tiertex Design Studios, who were responsible for plenty of games that we've already looked at. Weirdly enough, instead of EA, the Game Boy version was published by THQ. The fact that EA wanted nothing to do with this release is, foreboding. The cover is a pretty standard shot of a soccer player, in this case David Ginola, but interestingly enough, the person on the cover changed between regions. David Beckham, Roy Lassitier, Paolo Maldini, they all got their chance in the spotlight. Another day, another trip to the field. I ran out of soccer puns long ago, so let's get right into FIFA Road to the World Cup 98. Ooh, catchy. France 98. France 98? What? Maybe that's where the World Cup finals took place? Oh god, we're getting ident screens like mad right now. We are literally on 1 full minute of ident screens. This is ridiculous. Oh my god, just let me play the game! Finally! FIFA, the road to the World Cup. Oh my gosh, I've been idented like mad. Okay. There's a lot of stuff to do. Let's do an exhibition. I am ready for soccer. We will be, every team has different stats. Tornadoes? What? Oh, the official THQ branded team has perfect stats. USA's stats are pretty low. That's about as expected. How about Spain versus, Switzerland, the ultimate rivalry. Today's match featuring Spain and Switzerland will be a scorcher. Any team could win in this hotly contested exhibition game. Let's do this. Oh, wow. Defense should go up to here. Midfield should go up to here. Team strategy. Okay, so they are going for that full-out soccer experience of all kinds of strategy. All-out attack, definitely. Team formation. Sure. I don't know who any of these people are. So I don't know if they're, actual soccer players or not. I'll have to check that later, but... Okay, that's enough stats. Let's soccer! This one. Yeah! Ooh, isometric. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, the utter lack of sound is so weird. Oh, man, this is weird. It's actually, though, controlling and playing a little better than I thought, based on the... Oh. Wow. Lot to unpack here. Okay, let's see if I can figure these controls out. A to dribble? Pass? I can't tell. A, when I don't have the ball, switches players. Oh, this is weird. Like, I was expecting more, like, flickering or weird stuff because the graphics are actually not bad. But it's also not playing great. Okay, ow. Red card. Yellow card. Whatever card is in soccer. I'm not even going to comment on that pose. Okay, let's see if I can actually figure this out. A. A is definitely pass. So typically that means B would be shoot. B. Yep, B is shoot at the goal. Why is it... It's totally... There's not a single noise. Got it. Shoot the ball. Down. Come on. Oh, yeah! I actually scored a goal in one of these games, which fares better than a lot of these. Okay, you know what? I need to check some. Okay, I was just pausing to see, like, okay, I want to check to see, if the game audio is a thing, on other versions. But yeah, the game is just silent. Okay, hang on. Let's check out something else. Playoffs. Oh, it's just tournament style. The underpowered team of Switzerland. Wow. Rude. I'm just gonna stick with the basic options. And soccer. So, in terms of the soccer games we've played, this one actually plays better. I know that seems weird, but... What? Oh, right, I'm throwing from the, outside. But, like, I can kind of control it? And I kind of have a sense of what I'm doing? It's definitely a little awkward, but not nearly as much as other soccer games, or not nearly as much as other sports games in general. The problem is more... This lack of sound is really getting to me. Haha. Hang on. The ultimate strategy. I'm just going to throw it into the goal. Like, I definitely think with more practice, I could get really good at this game. Like, again, the fact that how many times have I played a sports game on Game Boy Roulette and I'm unable to do anything? It happens shockingly often, because a lot of these games are really not intuitive, but this one is fairly playable. Like, if you don't want to have background music, that's fine, but not even crowd noises, not even sound effects? I wonder if it was, like, an actual technological issue. Like, in order for the game to run as well as it does, because it does run quite well, they had to cut out all the sound. That would actually make sense. This is like a soccer horror game. This is like soccer in Silent Hill. There we go. I'm figuring out, like, slide tackling, and I'm figuring out everything. It's surprisingly intuitive for a soccer game. I'm down with this. The game also seems to have a lot of features. The tournament, the league, plenty of exhibitions. Yeah, I think this game's alright. It's certainly one of the better soccer games we've played. Just, you gotta put on a podcast or some background music or the sound of the ocean or something. Seriously, why is it so quiet? Again, I'm out of soccer puns, so let's just say that was a soccery good time. When it comes to sports games, you can take two paths. One, you can go more over the top and ridiculous, something like Mario Golf, but the other path is a more serious take, which can typically be a bit harder to pull off, since realistic doesn't always mean better. But this was a case where the realistic angle paid off. The game controlled quite well, with passing and shooting and switching players all made fairly simple, but the real depth came from the strategies you could set up before each match. It honestly was equally a strategy game as a sports game, managing everything about your team before the game begins to get the advantage. It's a nice balance that made the game really enjoyable. Now, let's talk about the sound, or rather the lack of it during gameplay. It was surprising that, given the music and the menus was quite good, the actual gameplay was totally silent. But after looking into it, apparently some versions of the game do have in-game sound. So I'm not sure if it's an emulator issue or just an issue with the game itself, but the actual in-game sound was pretty much what you would expect. It's just basic Game Boy crowd noise with a few small sound effects, but honestly, no matter what the music situation really is, it doesn't take away from the experience. It's just an interesting little quirk about the game. So overall, this is one of the better, more in-depth sports games I've played on Game Boy Roulette, especially if you're not just into soccer, but are into mixing on-the-field gameplay with some real strategy management. Now then, time to get to my next project, Silent Hill Soccer. And that's all for another episode of Game Boy Roulette. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to follow the series as we continue to dig through the Game Boy vault. I'm Brian J, and I'll see you next time.